to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. You know that my guests and I are excited every week when you join us. So here's the deal. We hear that word change and we go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Humada, humada, humada. Here's the deal. My guests and I get it. We understand. And that's why we show up for you and hopefully have these good dynamic conversations to guide you on whatever change you're navigating. So here's the deal. To make your life a little bit easier, in the show notes, you will see my free communication style assessment, my gift to you. You will get 2 reports. First report, just your natural superpowers as it relates to communication will be the first report you get. Kind of good to understand how your message is landing. Flip side, 180 degrees, people are communicating differently than us. How is your message landing there? So on your lowest score, you'll get that second report. Again, read that one with tremendous clarity, because I think that's the one that helps us most on our journey of change. So today's quote, just to set the stage for my guests and my topic and our conversation, is by Tina Fey. Tina says, I think every working mom probably feels the same thing. You go through big chunks of time where you're just thinking, this is impossible. Oh, this is impossible. And then you just keep going, and you sort of do the impossible. Well, as a working mom and a business owner for my kids' entire lives, juggling between that professional and that personal life, it's always a challenge and something to be mindful of for all of us. Now, after I had my kids and immediately went back to work, I had no idea of the guilt and overwhelm that was possible. There's actually no way to prepare for a child's schedule and your schedule combined until it happens. And it's not always easy, but it's definitely doable as long as you have the right team in place. So today's episode, we're really going to dig in and discuss the importance of adjusting your mindset for exercise during pregnancy and postpartum and adjusting to the mom lifestyle and demands. So today, my amazing guest is my wonderful niece. I'm so proud of her, Jordan Searles. During her own pregnancy, Jordan felt lost trying to figure out how to continue exercise while also keeping her body and her baby safe. Even with her education and becoming a certified gym teacher, I'm going to brag on her a little bit. She holds the Guinness Book of World Record for the best time. She accomplished a 1-mile long lunge for women earlier this year. So a great feat as well with a newborn. She wishes she had someone to connect with who could have guided her through the different stages and feelings of what it took to exercise during pregnancy and postpartum. This motivated her to get her pre and postnatal training specialist certification while on maternity leave with her son. Yes, she's a go-getter. And her wonderful son is Cameron, my wonderful great nephew. And through her knowledge, personal experience, she aims to educate women on prenatal and postpartum exercise and advocate for overall prenatal, postnatal women's health. So again, I know that was a long brag, but welcome my niece to the show, Jordan. So Jordan, kiddo, thanks for being on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that was a heck of an intro. I hope I live up for it.
Yes, you will. You will. So isn't it? I just want to comment to everybody listening, right? When you sent your bio for me to, include so people get an idea of your backgrounds and your level of expertise on this topic, right? Because that's why we're talking about it. You didn't include the teaching certification, right, for the gym teacher, which is all anatomy and that whole body science. And the other piece, you didn't put the Guinness Book of World Records. So even after having the baby, you train to be able to do that lunge and get in. So this is the commitment, but this is the possibility, I believe, of what you reflect for all women who are thinking about getting pregnant, who are pregnant. And then, of course, after that delivery, the mayhem of the mind is unsettling and it's scary.
It really is. It's something that I knew and heard about, right? And I'm sure you did as well during your pregnancy and everything. And you don't know until you go through it. You can't say it enough, and you try to help other women understand it, but it is definitely one of those things that you don't truly know until you go through it. But there are still a lot of things that I think if I had talked to someone like myself,
Yes,
it also would have helped out a little bit more.
Yeah. Agree. What was your inspiration? Because now, I mean, everybody, Cameron, we just had his first birthday. So this creating a business, right? Getting those certifications, training for the Guinness Book, world record. None of this is, and I'm not minimizing because that was big, big lifts for you. But what was your inspiration behind starting the business while doing all of these wonderful accomplishments?
Well, so the business really started first. So during my maternity leave, which started in about April or so, which was the last couple of weeks of my third trimester, and I was just really thinking of, man, I really haven't found anything that I felt really comfortable doing myself to prepare for labor. There was a lot of things on YouTube to sort through, and it was just really overwhelming. It was like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that. And I was like, is this even appropriate for me? Am I doing this right? So that kind of got me on the track of it. And then once I had Cameron and went through the whole thing, again, Instagram, they hit you hard with all their ads and everything. And something came up that was specifically for pre and postnatal training. And that's what made me dive into it. And I was like, this is really going to take my training skills to the next level because I was just training at Burn with all women basically.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure that I could provide an extra level of training and modifications and support for them. And then it just kind of morphed its way into like, hey, I can do this one-on-one and really help women
Yeah.
and really make it custom to them and their needs because every single pregnancy is unique, even from person to person, right? Your two pregnancies, I'm sure there were differences between the two.
Yeah, very.
So that's what makes it so unique with the personal training specifically for pregnant and postpartum, either immediate postpartum or even a couple of years postpartum. It really makes a huge difference of how unique everyone's body is.
And it's interesting because this is your zone of genius and you know how hard it was. Like you said, you went on YouTube. You're in that world of exercise. You work at Burn, which is another part-time. She works at a facility that's mostly women for exercise. Again, not necessarily pregnant women, but for women in general. So you're in this world, you're thrown into the deep end, your background, your education, certificate, all of this stuff. You went on YouTube and what is that going to work for me? So and then here's the other thing. You're still in overwhelm because you're not sleeping, right? And you're uncomfortable during the pregnancy. Then after the pregnancy, your heightened awareness because now you have this baby. Are they crying? Are they okay? I used to just wake up in the middle of the night, walk in to make sure we didn't have video cameras like you guys have now. I would physically get up. Is he still breathing? Like that fear, because now this little person is like, you're responsible, man. Like the buck stops with you. So you have all of this going on. You're looking on YouTube and you're like, I don't even know where to begin. So out of necessity comes inspiration. And that's
Correct.
Really what it sounds like what happened for you and seeing the need for others.
Correct. That hits the nail on the head, basically. And someone that is truly passionate about it is not just in it for, the money and trying to, make deals off of programs and things like that. And it's really the customization. And I love the challenge of it as well. If people come to me with a problem, be like, I'm going to put my nose to the grindstone and try to fix this and try to make this as best as it possibly can. And also the general education of it as well. I've already had a couple of clients that have come to me saying, I've heard this, I'm not sure about this, and asking a bunch of questions. And it really makes me feel really good saying, I know the answer to that. Like I can help you with this. And it's definitely my passion, something that I just kind of discovered a little bit later in life, but this is definitely what I'm meant to do.
It's never too late, my friends. And here's the other interesting piece of that. You said customization. I believe that when we have a business, whoever the client is in front of us, we have to customize. I customize with my corporate clients because no two are the same. And what you just said is really important and it's worth repeating. No two clients that come to you are going to have the same issues with pregnancy. Your mother-in-law, my sister, she loved being pregnant. I hated being pregnant because And that's just my sister. She's a wonderful mom, right? And I'm a wonderful mom, I think, too, Jordan.
Of
But
course.
pregnancy, I always said I didn't love the pregnancy. I love the outcome. It was worth it. But the pregnancy itself, I was extremely uncomfortable, where she just flourished during pregnancy. So again, if you have two of us coming to you at the same time, where she's looking just to be healthy and I'm looking, can I feel more comfortable in my own body right now? Two, same pregnancy, maybe we're both 6 months pregnant, but I'm sorry, it's two different approaches that you need to come forward with. And that is your zone of genius. And then the other thing, Jordan, I wanted to say is, additionally, now that you've been through it, and then the postpartum and all the struggle you had, somebody who eats very, very clean, right? You've always ate very, very clean. You've always been sports minded and top physical shape. And you even dealt with the postpartum. So everybody has a different journey, pre, during, and then that post pregnancy. So with your capacity of understanding what you went through, I think it just even brings another human layer of compassion, maybe, and empathy to who the client is perhaps in front of you, right?
That's exactly right too. And the also understanding of the athlete mindset of it as well. That's definitely something I struggled with. And athletes, I feel, also put a lot of pressure on themselves to, I mean, also I feel like a lot of moms in general put a lot of pressure on themselves to bounce back. And
Yeah.
I hate that term so much.
Yeah.
And it sets that awful kind of precedent of I have to work harder to get back to my pre-pregnancy body. And working with clients on that, so it's not all just, hey, let's, get you to lose the baby weight and, recover postpartum, but a lot of it is also the mental changes that you need to make and helping adjust that mindset of this is a new body, right? And we're trying to rebuild the foundation. You're not broken. This isn't going to be forever. And it's just, again, the foundation of a house, right? You want to make sure there's no cracks and it's solid because if you go back too soon, that's going to cause a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But if we don't challenge it, then the demands of parenthood are going to be really difficult as well.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of trainers as well, it is very intimidating to work with a prenatal or immediately postpartum woman because I don't like to use this phrase either, but they're not fragile. It's just you need to be able to find the line of where do we push and where do we back off. And like we said before, everything is customized. So that woman can maybe go a little harder, whereas someone else, like, okay, we need to back off. So understanding that is also another challenge that those blanket programs that are being sold online, that doesn't help.
It doesn't. And you're right. There's a lot of mindset crap that's going on too, because you're like, I should be back to my baby weight. I need to perform better at work. Whatever's going on in your life. If you have another child at home, do they feel neglected? So women, we feel that level of guilt with such intensity. And here's the thing, we have to get on top of our mindset. I agree with that as well. The other thing you said, which I think is important, I am not a cookie cutter person. I don't believe in that. So understanding who the human is in front of you and the word fragile, I agree with you. I remember when I was pregnant and people would be like, oh, you shouldn't be carrying your briefcase. And I'd look at them and I go, I'm not handicapped. I don't have a broken leg. I'm pregnant. Here's the thing, though. After the pregnancy, our body has been through trauma. We don't realize that because you don't think of it as trauma because you have this beautiful baby and you're filled with joy and love and all of these great things that you want to do for this child. Your body has been through havoc, and we don't honor that because we have to keep, because now you have a baby and you have to go back to work in 6 weeks or whatever time frame it is, unless you could take that extended leave. So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So not only is it the physical, but that mental. And you're right. We're told, oh my God, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, bounce back. What's the big deal? It is a big deal because our body parts moved around, for goodness sake. That's trauma. Again, just that the output of the child is tremendous blessing. So to take a step back for me, did you have to make specific adjustments to your exercise during, because remember, you've been exercising from, when you were playing collegiate soccer, coaching, the whole thing. What adjustments did you make so people understand that even an athlete who was in top physical form before getting pregnant, there has to be a shift?
Correct. So usually the small changes that you have to make are in the first trimester, which basically is just limiting your rotation. So usually it's ab exercises. So it's Russian twists, basically anything where your shoulders are disassociated from your hips.
Oh,
Usually I like to take that out because that just places a little extra pressure on the abdomen, which is basically all of pregnancy is just pressure management and things are shifting, right? As baby gets bigger, your lungs get squished, your diaphragm gets squished, your pelvic floor gets squished, your bladder gets squished, your stomach gets squished. So it's all intra-abdominal pressure. So that is one of the biggest things that you want to keep an eye on from start to finish, basically. Then as belly gets bigger, it really again depends on the person. And even if it's someone that's super athletic and into fitness leading up to that, I noticed that I had to start to modify jumping a little bit sooner than some other women at the gym when I noticed that they were pregnant around the same time as far as like weeks, how far along they were. Some
oh,
women can go longer. Some women it's like, okay, 13 weeks or so, which is on the earlier side for modifying for jumping. But again, every body is different. So
sure.
I noticed, I think it was around like the 20-ish week mark, like around halfway. My belly wasn't huge, but there was one day where I was just jumping. I'm like, this doesn't feel great
Wow.
anymore. I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too that I also want to help women as much as possible is the thing that I was so confused about is people kept saying like listen to your body, listen to your body. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm listening for. I've never done this before. Like what I I don't know. Like, and that was the first time I experienced like listening to your body, but I didn't it didn't really register really until it just felt funny.
Yeah.
And that's not a great way to explain it, but so that's just other things that I hope to help educate women a little bit more through my experience.
Yeah.
And again, that extra guidance, especially for those first time moms. Like I said, you don't know until like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Until you go through it. And even the second time around, it's different. So what you thought was changes anyway, right? We have to be fluid with that. So having that coach, I think, is critical. The other thing I want to ask you about is what were some of the mindset challenges that you face with the postpartum? Again, you eat healthy, because that's the other thing. They go, oh, the postpartum, and I know I remember when I was, younger, I delivered my kids, there wasn't as much talk as there is now, and there's a lot more resources, thank goodness. But again, the resources become overwhelming. What's going to work for me? How do I decipher that? So having someone like you who not only understands but is certified but have gone through the postpartum, I think that's an important piece of the puzzle as well. So what were some of the mindset shifts that you faced with the postpartum?
So it was definitely I knew going into it that I really tried to focus on the healing aspect of it and keeping in mind in as far as, an athlete mindset of this is an injury, body needs time to heal. This
Yeah.
was in a funny way, like I said, this is a PR of a lifetime, personal record, personal best. This is the hardest workout I've ever been through. So body needs to rest. I think the where things started to get a little funky was the 6 week checkup, which everyone put so much pressure on. And the doctor didn't really help me out either. And again, I'm gonna repeat myself over and over again. You don't know what you don't know. So I went into this appointment thinking that I had some questions written down and ready to go. And the doctor did their little assessment and then just said, okay, like you're good to go. And I left feeling kind of like I felt like there should have been a little more guidance for exercise, and there just wasn't because my body felt yucky. I didn't like the way things felt when I moved, but
Oh,
yet I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know how to explain how I felt.
yeah.
And then the doctor was just like, okay, go get them. Like that I think she just said, just take it easy with core exercises. Like, well, what, what?
What
So
does that mean?
yeah, so that was definitely really hard for me to hear that. And my mindset again too just had that in the back of my head of like, okay, like it's my 6 week appointment. Like the doctor said I'm good to go. So again, the competitive athlete in me, unfortunately, started to kind of take over, be like, all right, like, hey, it's doctor, medical professional. Like they did the checks, they did the test. Like, let's try to push it a little bit. And unfortunately, didn't quite go as planned. So then around probably like 3, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, that was when like things just like really were really difficult for me.
Yes.
So I will give Paul, my husband, a lot of credit, and he was absolutely amazing and just my absolute rock. He was there for the really hard times and reminding me over and over and over again of this beautiful little boy sitting behind us so
Yes.
nicely, that, but also that anything that I needed, he was there for me. And also, again, just that every postpartum journey is different. And just, are you better than you were, a month ago? Are you better than you were 2 months ago? And
Yeah.
which is really hard as an athlete as well, because you have a timeline of your injury.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you can notice changes probably like weekly. Be like, oh, was I better than I was last week? Like, yeah, it feels good. Whereas postpartum, what I noticed with mine is, was I better than last week? No. Was I better than the 2 weeks ago? No. Like, okay, then I felt like I was kind of plateauing.
Yeah.
But then I tried to think about, okay, was I better than I was like 2 or 3 months ago? And yeah, I was. And that it's a very, very, very slow
Yeah.
recovery. And again, that can be for me, that can be different for someone else. So trying to kind of adjust that is really difficult on the fly.
Yeah, and Jordan, you know what the reality is? This is life, right? Like we're talking in this case about pregnancy. Then as the kids go to school, what other demands does that place on you as the mom? And so these different now you don't know until you go through that, right? Because you still have just a 1 year old at home, right? They haven't been into the school
Mhm.
realm. Yeah. But and I think women we do a disservice because it's like, all right, deal with it and move on where we don't honor our bodies, we don't honor our, and I think we love ourselves enough, right? Because we create these beautiful beings, but I don't think we honor long enough to say, wait a minute, if that isn't working, why are you pushing? Can you find something else? That's where I think the issue lies. We don't know where to go, Jordan, right? So
Yeah.
you ask people, but if no one understands your question or no one's been through, like my sister Ro, right? I was waiting for this magical experience of pregnancy. And I remember I kept saying, does it get better? Like, why don't I feel like you felt? I don't feel that way. Like, and then you start thinking, oh my God, am I broken? Oh my God, am I not going to be a good mom? Oh my God. Like, and then we go down that rabbit hole of right, the brain, the negative record player kicks in. Am I not good enough? Is there something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong with during the pregnancy? We don't know. So I believe having these resources are critical, not only of someone who's educated on it, but someone who's gone through it, because your level of empathy is so drastically different because you understand when someone says, what is I'm listening to my body for what? And you could say, how about this? Try this. Tell me how you feel. And then you could help them zone into tapping into whatever's going on in the body. Again, during the pregnancy, as well as the post. The other question I wanted to ask, with all of that change and you being an athlete, do you feel like maybe you were even harder on yourself because it was like, oh my God, grow up, pull up your big girl pants and just suck it up and do it? Did that go on in your brain, or did you feel, am I doing something wrong, and feel a little scared and lost? I'm curious.
Honestly, it was yes and no. There were days of, you know what, like, if single moms can do it, like, why don't you? Like you like there was a little bit of that, and it was just like, hey, like, you've got this. And then other days of oh my God, like, am I cut out for this? Like this, I have to do this every single day now for
Yeah.
like ever.
Yeah.
And I think I think every parent has the the conversation like in the car ride home, like turning to one another and be like, well, this person's with us now. Like this is it, you know? Um, but as far as just kind of how that change and that pressure on yourself a little bit, I found that it was the good days, honestly, definitely helped with uh, whether or not I actually got out to exercise and got out and did something for myself.
Yeah.
I definitely noticed a little bit of a change just those days.
Yeah.
And the days that I didn't, and the days that I was definitely stuck inside and stuck in the routine, which was good, but just stuck of just where I was at.
Yeah.
It definitely, those were more of like the bad days of like, what are you doing? Can you do this? That's when like the overwhelm was definitely there. So as tough as it definitely is for a lot of moms, even just having that like 10-minute walk by yourself, even without the baby, like can play such a huge role in just like go just try to find you. Because I feel like that's also one thing that moms are also looking, especially first time moms, is that adjustment of I'm mom now, but who I want to bring the person who was before mom like with me. Like, is
Yeah.
she still there? And also the scary part of looking in the mirror and not really recognizing that body or not even feeling comfortable in your body
Yeah.
anymore. That was
Absolutely.
definitely something I experienced as well as my body feels different. It doesn't feel like mine. And that was definitely something hard to really navigate and deal with and express. But my husband's not going to understand. And, you know, my mom kind of, again, every pregnancy is different. So
Absolutely.
there's so much that they can, you know, help out, but that was definitely something that I struggled with in the beginning. And then as I started to gain a little more confidence in how to take care of another human being, but also yet take care of myself and try to manage that,
Yeah.
that was definitely adjustments to make.
Yeah. And we're taught like you're on the plane. First thing they say, if the masks come down, well, God forbid, right? But if the mask comes down, what do they say? Put it on yourself first and then help the child, the elderly, whoever that you're responsible for. Because if you go down, now both people are out of commission. So you think, yes, logically, oh, that makes so much sense. And yet when we deliver a baby, all of that logic goes out the window and we're not good enough. I didn't do enough. What's wrong with me? All of that starts playing in. And it's because the other thing we don't realize, yes, the body went through trauma, right? Our insides are moving around, baby, as that kid comes out where, oh my God, the thought of that freaked me out when I first had the baby inside. I kept saying to Uncle Rob, I can't do this. There's no way this is happening. Like the whole concept, right? So you have all of this mindset stuff happening from the minute you find out you're pregnant, the changes that go on, then the delivery, and then we do not realize until you go through it, the massive trauma and trauma in a good way. It's not a bad trauma, right? Because the result, like I said before, is really good. But that trauma, we don't honor it because of the good result. It's not like you had a trauma and your leg is broken and you're in a cast. Well, you have to honor that, right? You have to honor that. And we go, yeah. When you have a baby, it's like, the baby's up, get up, feed the baby. You had 2 hours sleep. Too bad. You're the mom now. So, and we put this pressure on us, whether society does it, we do it, it doesn't matter. It's there, it's real. And we need an outlet or a resource to be able to navigate that, Jordan, because it's hard. It's hard. And you're right. You don't even know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
So picking someone or choosing someone like you in this case, not only do you have the credentials, which I think are important, don't get me wrong, I'm not minimizing that, but that you not only have the credentials, but you have the real life experience, plus all of the other, your athletic background and all of that, you understand the body and honoring where your body is at any given week. And then I have one more question. I liked how you said, so don't look at, did I do better today than yesterday or last week? Maybe you do have to go back a month and a half for you to say, oh, wait, there was progress, because sometimes I think we expect so much and we put so much pressure for what? Where are we going? This is a journey, right? It really isn't a marathon, but we think everything we have to do is better, faster, because 6 weeks, doctor said you could go back to your normal activity. What does that even mean? Right?
That's right. Yeah. The other thing that you had kind of said too is the building off of like the expectations that we put for ourselves and kind of, it's baby's born, hit the ground running, like baby comes first for everything. One of the things that I've been seeing more and more people post about, which makes me really happy, but I think it's kind of a little bit of a hot issue, is a lot of people say, like, well, healthy mom, healthy baby, or happy mom, happy baby. Everyone's okay. And I think a lot of moms downplay how they feel just because of that. And it's like, well, I had a C-section, or, I had a vaginal birth and this complication happened, or, but, happy baby, they're healthy, and they kind of downplay the trauma that they went through.
Absolutely.
And it's okay. Like I want to express that it's okay to talk about that more and prioritize yourself and prioritize healing your body. Yes, it's great that the baby's healthy. It's amazing that everyone, like everything went smoothly for the most part, but that doesn't, it again, it downplays the monumental physical feat that your body just went through.
Yeah.
Regardless of the type of delivery. So I think trying to empower women a little bit more to say like, no, like my body's healing. I'm hurt. I need to focus on me.
Yeah.
So I think we need to kind of push that a little bit more for women to say like it's okay to say that during that time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay to worry about yourself too, because again, I go back to the airplane, put the mask on first. You got to get the oxygen before you can help someone else. The other thing too, Jordan, and I know you and Paul did a really nice job of getting your team in place before Cam came, and you have your friend that's a nurse that's babysitting. You have Ro, my sister, your mother-in-law, babysitting. You had Dave, the father-in-law, babysitting. Your mom and dad come up. So you had a real team approach as well. I know everybody doesn't have that, and I'm going to use the word luxury. I don't know that I think it's a necessity, but because my mom and dad helped me so I could start my business. Like, it's hard to do it alone. And there's a saying that it takes a village to raise kids. And being now, living through it, my kids are a little younger than you. It really does take a village. There is no way you can do it alone anymore. So that you guys had that piece in place, I commend you, because can you imagine had you not had that in place and then going back to work and then feeling the guilt that you might have felt going back to work? It's an emotional roller coaster, and yet we're expected to be on the high because you have this healthy, beautiful baby. Yes, but you get the lows too because of the hormonal imbalance and the craziness that's going on inside of you. Out of time, but I do have one more question.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for those new moms that, like, for you go, I wish someone said this to me, right? What would that be?
There's so much.
Many, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it is definitely the focus on the long-term improvements, and things do get better. It's going to be slow. It's going to be difficult, but things do slowly get better. And it might not feel like it right now in the moment, but try to, again, think about what it felt like a month ago, 2 months ago, which I also definitely encourage, which I wish I started doing earlier, is also journaling how I felt, because having it like written down too is also super helpful. Of like, this is exactly how I felt, either mentally, physically, emotionally. And then like being able to go back and actually be like, yeah, I did feel that way. And how do I feel now? I think can be super helpful, which is definitely something I plan on doing the next time around to really help with me specifically.
Yeah, I tell you, it's true. Such a simple thing. Just, it's okay to feel like crap. It's okay to feel pissed off. It's okay to feel exhausted. It's okay. I remember that, Uncle Rob, he's like the nicest man alive. And I remember one day I turned to him and I said, I just want to punch you in the face. And he goes, what did I do? I said, "Now, right, you Jordan, you're laughing because you know." He goes, what did I do? Like, I'll make it better. And I go, you didn't do anything. Because why do you want to punch me? I go, I don't know, but I really have this urge. I'm not going to hurt you, but I really want to punch you. And here was the thing. It's good that I verbalized it. We laughed hysterically. And he goes, keep me posted when it happens again. Do I have to keep one eye open at night? Like, we used to joke about this, but once in a while I'd go, oh God, I have that urge. I really want to hit you again. It was my own frustration. And I wanted to blame him because I couldn't go in and say, you're not good enough, or you're not being a good enough mom. So it's like, deflect, punch him. He's the blame, right? It's subconscious. You don't even realize it's happening. So I love that journaling, because then you can go back and reflect and say, oh my gosh, 3 weeks ago, oh, I don't feel that way anymore. Okay, that's okay, progress. Without documenting it, you forget from day to day, let alone from what happened 3 weeks ago, because you're sleep deprived and you're so enamored with this child that you forget what happened yesterday, let alone 3 weeks ago. Journaling, what a great piece of advice. All right, I'm going to give your info. Here's the deal. I love her, so I think you will love Jordan as well. Go follow her on Instagram for sure, and I will put all this in the show notes for you to easily find her. But it's at Jordan SRLS _fit. It'll be in the show notes, guys. Follow her if you're on this journey, even if you're thinking about pregnancy, you're in the throes of pregnancy, start to follow Jordan. She posts some amazing things and great advice and tips and ideas. If you want, you have a question specific for her, please email her at fitness.musclemama@gmail.com. Again, that will be in the show notes. And Jordan, you welcome any communication. You truly are here to help. And if you're the resource needed, then, let's share that with everybody, because it should be so joyous that we don't feel this way. The reality is we do feel this way. So what are the alternatives, and what do I need, right? That customization for me. And you're the person to do that. You're empathetic. You're just wonderful. So have I gushed enough about my niece and how wonderful she is? I think she's amazing. No joke, Jordan. I wish that when, I was your age and having kids, that I had you as a friend, because that would have been such a great resource. But a great supporter of the emotional piece, saying, this is normal, try this. And if that doesn't work, we got more in the toolbox for you to try. Again, right? One size doesn't fit all. So again, fitness@musclemama@gmail.com, and Jordan SRLS _fit. It will be in the show notes. Anything else before we sign off, my lovely niece?
So I just want to also announce too that I'm running a special Mother's Day scholarship. So it's called the Super Mom Scholarship. So basically I'm offering 3 months of all of the personalized programming for free. So that mom that is trying to prioritize herself, trying to either get back into fitness or start their fitness journey, or, try to mitigate aches and pains of pregnancy, this is the perfect time to try it out. And finally, put yourself first. Moms are always putting themselves last. So this is the time to put yourself first. And the application for it is on my Instagram page as well. And I'll be running that until May 18th. So I just open it up. It's a Google form. Takes literally 5 minutes, because I know how valuable a mom's time is. And it's also a chance where they can, express what their goals are, why they want to do this, why they want to put themselves first, and any other things that I need to take into consideration for some programming.
Yeah. And the other thing you just said there, that in any women that didn't exercise during pregnancy, could have been on bed rest, whatever it might be, and you're thinking, like, where do I even begin? This might be the first step, right, in helping little smidges of effort and changes in their exercise, or incorporating exercise could be extremely valuable. Are you limiting that because you can't take on 100 free clients, young lady? That's your business aunt now talking.
Yeah. As far as applications go, as many applications as accepted, I am looking possibly to take 1 or 2.
Okay, beautiful. So again, make this a priority. Email if in doubt, if you're not on Instagram for some reason, just email Jordan and she could send you that document as well. Jordan, you are a delight.
Yes.
You know I love you to death. You're amazing. You're an amazing mom, and that baby is just off the charts. Awesome sauce. I'm madly in love with that Cam, the man behind you, and he was so good.
He's got good genes.
Jeez,
You know?
Louise, he's just so calm. I'm in love.
Crazy.
Love fest today. Love fest during the show. Jordan, thank you again. And thank you for sharing, being vulnerable and sharing so much personal information. We have to get personal with people. We have to be vulnerable. That's how we learn and grow together. And I really honor what you're trying to do for, again, women who are looking to get pregnant. You're in pregnancy now and thinking, holy crap, this is what I need, or postpartum, that aftermath of having the child, and you just feel in utter overwhelm. Conversation with you, I truly think can help. So thank you so much for sharing with my folks on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much. It was awesome. I was looking forward to this all week.
Me too. Thanks again, my lovely niece there. And I hope you guys will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together, no matter where you are on change and whatever aspect that is in your life. I really do hope my guests and I provide insight, ideas, tools, strategies, thought processes that could help you navigate change with a little bit more ease and grace. Life is hard enough. Let's try to make it as easy as possible. So here's the deal. And I end on this every show, Jordan. They're all sick of me saying it, but I'm going to say it again. Information is a beautiful thing. Doing nothing with information, it's simply information. Take one piece of advice, email Jordan, follow her on Instagram, whatever that next step is for you. Do it. Take action. With action comes reaction. And I promise you, magic happens on the back end. And that is my gift, my wish for all of you. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.com. I am inspired that you join me weekly for the show, and I hope you continue to join me weekly. And I hope that my guests and I bring value to your life. Enjoy, create change, go get them. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one, everybody.